Learning English through conversation. Lily went to the zoo.
The sun was shining brightly on a Saturday morning as Bob, Alice, and their 5-year-old daughter Lily prepared for a day at the zoo. It was a trip they had been planning for weeks, and Lily was bursting with excitement. She had woken up early, eager to see all the animals she had only read about in her books. Today was going to be a special day, especially since Lily had been talking nonstop about wanting to see the pandas, her absolute favorite animal. As they drove to the zoo, Lily sat in the back seat, her legs swinging with anticipation. She kept asking her parents about the different animals they would see and what they could expect. Bob and Alice, amused by their daughter's enthusiasm, answered her questions patiently.
Mom, Dad, do you think the pandas will be awake when we get there?
Bob glanced at Alice with a smile before answering.
I hope so, Lily. Pandas can be pretty lazy, though. They like to sleep a lot after eating all that bamboo.
Lily giggled at the thought of a panda dozing off in the middle of its meal.
I want to see them eating. I read that they can eat so much bamboo. I can't wait to see how they do it.
Alice turned in her seat to look back at Lily, her eyes full of warmth.
We'll make sure to spend plenty of time at the panda enclosure, so you can watch them for as long as you want.
The car ride was filled with Lily's questions and the sounds of excitement, until finally, they arrived at the zoo. The parking lot was already filling up, and the atmosphere buzzed with the chatter of families and children, all eager to start their day. As they walked towards the entrance, Lily held tightly onto her parents' hands, her eyes wide with wonder at the sight of the zoo ahead of them. The large gates loomed before them, decorated with images of animals that made Lily's heart race even faster.
I can't believe we're finally here.
Bob laughed, feeling a surge of happiness at seeing Lily so thrilled.
Let's go make some memories, kiddo.
They handed their tickets to the attendant and stepped into the zoo, where the sounds of animals and the smell of popcorn greeted them. The zoo was a vibrant place, filled with the calls of exotic birds, the roars of lions, and the chatter of excited visitors. Lily was captivated by everything around her, from the colorful signs to the glimpses of animals in the distance. The first stop was the elephant exhibit. Lily's eyes widened as she saw the massive creatures moving gracefully through their enclosure, their trunks swaying as they reached for food. She watched in awe as one elephant used its trunk to pick up a large piece of fruit and brought it to its mouth.
Wow, look at how big they are. How much do they eat, Dad?
Bob crouched down beside her, explaining.
Elephants eat a lot, Lily. They can eat up to 300 pounds of food a day, mostly plants like grass, leaves, and fruits.
Lily tried to imagine eating that much food and giggled at the thought.
That's so much. I bet they never get hungry.
Alice smiled, enjoying watching Lily's fascination with the animals.
They need all that food because they're so big. It gives them the energy they need to move around and stay healthy.
Lily nodded, absorbing the information. They spent a few more minutes watching the elephants before moving on to the next exhibit. As they walked, Lily was full of energy, skipping ahead of her parents and pointing out every animal she saw. They passed by the lion's den, where a male lion was lounging in the sun, his mane a golden crown around his head. Lily stood on her tiptoes, trying to get a better look.
He looks like a king. Do lions really live in the jungle, Mom?
Alice nodded, explaining as they walked.
Some lions live in jungles, but most of them live in savannas, where there's plenty of space for them to roam and hunt.
Lily listened intently, her mind painting pictures of lions in the wild. She had so many questions, but she was also eager to move on to see the other animals. They passed by the giraffes, who were gracefully reaching up to nibble leaves from the trees, and the zebras, whose black and white stripes fascinated Lily. But as they continued their exploration, Lily's thoughts kept drifting back to the pandas. She couldn't wait to see them up close. After a while, Bob noticed his daughter's impatience and smiled.
I think someone's ready to see the pandas. How about we head over there now?
Lily's face lit up with excitement.
Yes, please. I want to see them right now.
Bob and Alice exchanged an amused glance and started making their way towards the panda exhibit. As they got closer, Lily's excitement grew, and she could hardly contain herself. Finally, they reached the enclosure, and there, lounging among the bamboo, were the pandas. Lily's breath caught in her throat as she saw them for the first time. They were even more beautiful than she had imagined, their black and white fur standing out against the green bamboo. One of the pandas was lying on its back, lazily munching on a bamboo stalk, while the other was exploring its surroundings, sniffing at the air.
Mom, Dad, look. They're so cute. I love them.
Alice watched her daughter with a tender smile.
I knew you'd love them, sweetie. They're very special animals.
Lily couldn't tear her eyes away from the pandas. She watched them intently, her face a picture of pure joy. She noticed the way they used their paws to hold the bamboo, how they chewed slowly and contentedly. It was everything she had hoped to see and more. As they stood there, Lily noticed a zookeeper nearby, carefully observing the pandas and taking notes on a clipboard. Her curiosity piqued, Lily walked over to the zookeeper, her small voice full of curiosity.
Excuse me, are you the person who takes care of the pandas?
The zookeeper, a kind-looking woman with a warm smile, knelt down to Lily's level.
Yes, I am. My job is to make sure the pandas are happy and healthy. They're very special animals, so we take extra good care of them.
Lily's eyes sparkled with interest.
I love pandas. They're my favorite. Can you tell me more about them? Like, what do they do all day?
The zookeeper chuckled softly at Lily's enthusiasm.
Pandas are pretty laid-back animals. They spend most of their day eating bamboo, up to 16 hours a day, in fact. The rest of the time, they're either sleeping or playing. They're very gentle creatures, but they're also very strong.
Lily's mouth fell open in amazement. 16 hours just eating? That's so much. Do they ever get tired of bamboo?
The zookeeper shook her head with a smile.
No, they love it. Bamboo is their main food, and they can eat up to 40 pounds of it each day. But sometimes, we give them treats like apples or sweet potatoes, which they really enjoy.
Lily giggled at the idea of a panda munching on a sweet potato.
That sounds yummy. Do they ever get lonely?
The zookeeper's expression softened as she explained.
Pandas are actually pretty solitary in the wild. They like their own space and usually only come together during mating season. But here at the zoo, we make sure they have plenty of toys and activities to keep them busy so they don't get lonely or bored.
Lily nodded thoughtfully, watching one of the pandas roll over and playfully nibble on a bamboo stalk.
I'm glad they're not lonely. They seem so happy here.
Bob and Alice, who had been watching the conversation, felt a swell of pride in their daughter. Her empathy and love for animals were clear in every word she spoke.
Lily, do you want to learn more about how we can help pandas in the wild?
Lily turned to her father, her eyes bright with determination.
Yes, Dad. I want to help them. What can I do?
Alice joined in, her voice gentle and encouraging.
There are many ways we can help, Lily. One of the most important things is to protect their habitat. Pandas live in forests in China, and those forests are being cut down. By supporting conservation efforts, we can help protect their homes.
The zookeeper nodded, adding her own thoughts.
You can also help by learning as much as you can about pandas and telling other people how important it is to protect them. Even small actions, like not wasting paper, can help save the trees that pandas need to survive.
Lily listened carefully, absorbing every word.
I want to do all of that. I want to tell everyone about the pandas and how we can help them.
Bob smiled, feeling a deep sense of pride.
That's a great idea, Lily. And we'll be right there with you, doing our part too.
Alice gently squeezed Lily's hand, her heart full of love for her compassionate daughter.
You're already making a difference, sweetheart, just by caring so much. The world needs more people like you.
Lily beamed with pride, feeling a sense of purpose growing inside her. She looked back at the pandas, her heart swelling with affection for these gentle giants. She made a silent promise to herself that she would do everything she could to help them. The family spent a little more time at the panda enclosure, with Lily asking the zookeeper more questions and learning all she could. She was fascinated by everything she heard, from how pandas communicate with each other to the special care they receive in the zoo. As they finally moved on to explore the rest of the zoo, Lily couldn't stop talking about the pandas. She described every detail she had noticed to her parents, from the way they chewed their bamboo to the way they interacted with their environment. It was clear that the pandas had made a lasting impression on her. They visited other animals, like the playful otters that splashed around in the water, the majestic tigers that prowled through their enclosure, and the colorful parrots that squawked and fluttered in the aviary. But no matter how amazing the other animals were, Lily kept coming back to the pandas. As they walked through the zoo, they came across a small gift shop. Inside, Lily's eyes were immediately drawn to a shelf full of stuffed animals, including a row of soft, plush pandas. She ran over, picking up one of the pandas and hugging it tightly.
Mom, Dad, can I get this panda? I want to keep it forever.
Bob and Alice exchanged a smile, knowing how much the day had meant to Lily.
Of course, you can, Lily. That panda will be a reminder of everything you learned today.
Lily's face lit up with happiness as she clutched the stuffed panda to her chest.
Thank you. I'll take care of it just like the zookeeper takes care of the real pandas.
Alice bent down to kiss Lily on the forehead.
I'm sure you will, sweetie. You're going to be a great caretaker.
With her new panda in hand, Lily continued to explore the zoo with her parents. They made their way to the reptile house, where they saw snakes, lizards, and even a huge crocodile. Lily was fascinated by the different shapes and colors of the reptiles, though she was still thinking about the pandas. By the time they reached the end of their visit, the sun was beginning to set, casting a golden glow over the zoo. The family made their way back to the car, tired but happy. Lily was still holding on to her stuffed panda, her mind filled with everything she had seen and learned that day. As they drove home, Lily's eyes began to droop with exhaustion. It had been a long day, full of excitement and new experiences. Bob glanced at the rearview mirror, seeing his daughter struggling to stay awake.
Looks like someone had a big day.
Alice turned to look at Lily, who was fighting to keep her eyes open.
Did you have fun today, Lily?
Lily nodded sleepily, her voice soft.
It was the best day ever. I love the pandas so much.
Bob smiled, his heart full.
I'm glad you had a great time, Lily. We'll have to come back again soon.
Lily's eyes fluttered closed, her hand still clutching the stuffed panda.
Yeah, we can see them again, and I can learn more.
Her voice trailed off as she finally succumbed to sleep, a peaceful smile on her face. Alice reached back to gently stroke Lily's hair, her heart swelling with love for her little girl.
She's going to remember this day forever.
Bob nodded, his voice filled with warmth.
I think we all will.
They drove the rest of the way home in a comfortable silence, the events of the day replaying in their minds. It had been a day of learning, discovery, and bonding, one that had deepened their connection as a family. When they finally arrived home, Bob carefully unbuckled Lily from her car seat, lifting her gently into his arms. She stirred slightly, mumbling something about pandas, but didn't wake up. Alice carried the stuffed panda as they made their way inside. Bob laid Lily down in her bed, tucking her in with care. Alice placed the stuffed panda beside her, smoothing the covers over her. They stood there for a moment, watching their daughter sleep, feeling a deep sense of contentment. Alice whispered softly, not wanting to wake Lily.
She's so happy. Today meant so much to her.
Bob nodded, his voice equally soft.
She's going to grow up to do amazing things. I can see it already.
They left Lily's room quietly, leaving the door slightly ajar. As they settled into the living room, Bob and Alice reflected on the day. It had been more than just a trip to the zoo. It had been a day that would shape Lily's love for animals and her desire to protect them. Alice leaned against Bob, her voice thoughtful.
I'm so proud of her, Bob. She's so compassionate and curious. I know she's going to make a difference in the world.
Bob wrapped his arm around Alice, pulling her close.
I'm proud of her too. And I'm proud of us for raising such a wonderful daughter.
They sat in silence for a while, each lost in their thoughts. The day had been filled with so many special moments, and they knew that Lily's love for pandas and her passion for animals would only grow stronger as she got older. Eventually, they headed to bed, the memories of the day still fresh in their minds. As they drifted off to sleep, they both knew that this day would be one they would cherish forever, a day when their daughter's love for animals was nurtured, and her dream of making a difference in the world was sparked. And so, as the night settled over their home, Lily slept peacefully, dreaming of pandas and the adventures that awaited her in the years to come.